Welcome back to my KEEPUP channel. Titanic Five died instantly when craft suffered catastrophic implosion 1,600 feet from the bow of the wrecked liner. Coastguard has found multiple parts of the destroyed sub but cannot say if bodies can be recovered. Titanic Five were killed instantly when the submersible suffered a catastrophic implosion just 1,600 feet from the bow of the wrecked ocean liner, the U.S. Coast Guard announced on Thursday. The nail-biting search for the men on the Titan, a 21-feet submersible operated by OceanGate Expeditions, drew to a devastating close when a remote-operated submarine from a Canadian ship found debris on the ocean floor. Search and rescue officials say the men likely died on Sunday before military planes using sonar buoys detected what they thought could have been SOS banging sounds in the water. The victims are OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, French Navy veteran Paul Henry, Ph., Nargeolet, British billionaire Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, who was just 19. The implosion would have generated a significant, broadband sound that the sonar buoys would have picked up, explained Rear Admiral John Mauger of the U.S. Coast Guard at a press conference today. It would have been an instant death for the men, some of whom had paid $250,000 each to see the famous shipwreck. In a gut-wrenching blow for their families, experts say there is little prospect of recovering any of their remains. This is an incredibly unforgiving environment down there. The debris is consistent of a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. We'll continue to work and search the area down there, but I don't have an answer for prospects at this time, Paul Henkin, a deep-sea expert involved in the search, said. In a heartbreaking tribute, Richard Garriott, president of the Explorers Club, of which Harding and Nargeolet were both members, said that the men had been drawn to explore in the name of meaningful science for the betterment of mankind. Our hearts are broken. I am so sorry to have to share this tragic news, Garriott announced. He said the club was grateful for all our members and the scientific and exploration community around the world who have mobilized personnel and resources to support the search and rescue. Garriott described Harding as a dear friend to himself and the club. He holds several world records and has continued to push dragons off maps both in person and through supporting expeditions and worthy causes, he wrote. We're heartbroken for the families, friends, and colleagues of those who were lost. Their memories will be a blessing and will continue to inspire us in the name of science and exploration, Garriott said. Titanic director James Cameron took to the airwaves shortly after the Coast Guard announced the news, saying that he was struck by the similarities between the disaster and the sinking of the ocean liner in 1912. I am struck by the similarity of the Titanic disaster itself, where the captain was repeatedly warned about the ice ahead of his ship and yet he steamed at full speed into the ice field on a moonless night and many people died as a result, Cameron told ABC News. I've been down there many times. I know the wreck site very well. I understand the engineering problems associated with building this type of vehicle and all the safety protocols, he added. This is a mature art and many people in the community were concerned about the sub. It is absolutely critical for people to really get the take-home message from this, said the filmmaker. Cameron's pointed message comes after it was revealed that OceanGate boss Rush had been warned years before that his experimental approach could lead to a catastrophe, and in another interview he spoke about breaking rules to make the submarine. In addition to the vessel's landing frame and rear cover that were the first pieces of debris detected, the ROV submarine also found fragments of the pressure hull, the main body of the submersible. The debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families. On behalf of the Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families. I hope this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time, Rear Admiral Mauger said. In its own statement, OceanGate said this afternoon, we now believe that our CEO Stockton Rush, Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman Dawood, Hamish Harding, and Paul Henry Nargeolet, have sadly been lost. These men were true explorers who shared a distinct spirit of adventure and a deep passion for exploring and protecting the world's oceans. Our hearts are with these 5 souls and every member of their families during this tragic time. We grieve the loss of life and joy they brought to everyone they knew. The company added, "This is an extremely sad time for our dedicated employees who are exhausted and grieving deeply over this loss. The entire OceanGate family is deeply grateful for the countless men and women from multiple organizations of the international community who expedited wide-ranging resources and have worked so very hard on this mission. We appreciate their commitment to finding these 5 explorers, and their days and nights of tireless work in support of our crew and their families. This is a very sad time for the entire explorer community, and for each of the family members of those lost at sea. We respectfully ask that the privacy of these families be respected during this most painful time." Earlier, David Mearns, who was friends with 2 of the men on board, said that only saving grace for the men was how quickly their deaths would have occurred. The world had been praying for a miracle after rescuers estimated the vital oxygen supply would end at 7:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12:08 p.m. UK time, 9:09 p.m. Sydney, on Thursday. Officials said the field had been found by Odysseus 6K, a remote-operated vehicle, ROV, deployed by the Canadian vessel, the Horizon Arctic, that can dive 20,000 foot underwater. A glimmer of hope came yesterday when the Coastguard confirmed consistent banging noises had been detected by P-3 aircraft, but the search teams were unable to find the source of the sound or confirm that they were the SOS signals the world had hoped for. The families of the 5 men on board the sub are yet to publicly react to news of the debris discovery. Experts have for days warned of the possibility that the Titan had sprung a leak and imploded under the pressure, which is 400 times that experienced at sea level. They would be dead before they knew anything had even happened. David Marquet, a retired Navy nuclear submarine commander, said earlier this week. Earlier on Thursday, before the debris was found, Rear Admiral John Mauger, who coordinated the effort from Boston, said during an appearance on NBC's Today Show, "People's will to live has to be accounted for. The submersible's oxygen theoretically should have run out at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. British Summer Time, Thursday, according to the 96 hours limit listed on OceanGate's specs of the ship. The Titan submerged at 8 a.m., 1 p.m. British Summer Time, and lost communications at 9:45 a.m., 2:45 p.m., but was not reported as missing to the U.S. Coast Guard until 5:40 p.m., 10:40 p.m. The sub was due to return to the Polar Prince at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. British Summer Time, Sunday. Since Sunday night, there has been a frantic, international effort to find it and save the men on board. Kathleen Cosnett, a cousin of UK businessman Hamish Harding, 58, who was on the sub, said the 8-hour delay before contacting the authorities was far too long. She told The Telegraph, "It's very frightening. It took so long for them to get going to rescue them, it's far too long. I would have thought 3 hours would be the bare minimum." Titan lost communication on Sunday while about 435 miles south of St. John's, Newfoundland, during a voyage to the Titanic off the coast of Canada. The last ping of its homing device was heard on Sunday afternoon, directly above the world's most famous wreck. A Canadian Navy ship carrying medics specializing in treating health issues relating to deep-sea diving arrived on the scene this morning on the HMCS Glace Bay. They also brought a hyperbaric chamber which can be used for decompressing divers after they return to the surface. Above the wreck was flotilla of at least 10 ships, 2 robot subs, and several aircraft scanning the Atlantic for any sign of Titan as sonar continued to hear a banging noise from the depths. A Royal Navy submariner, as well as equipment from a British company, was also sent to assist in the search. Oceanographer and water search expert Dr. David Gallo said earlier on Thursday, "It's going to be almost impossible. We need a miracle, but miracles do happen. But former Royal Navy officer, Chris Perry, said as midday approached, "I'm afraid time's up. I don't think there's any prospect of getting those people out alive now." Rescuers were insistent that they would continue to look for the men even after the 96-hour oxygen window expired. As recently as Wednesday afternoon, Coast Guard Response Coordinator, Captain Jamie Frederick for 1st Coast Guard District said, "This is a search and rescue mission, 100%. Source, dailymail.co.uk. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.